Captain Rex begins the Clone Wars with unquestioned loyalty to the Jedi, because the Kamino training system defines obedience as identity. Clones are not taught to evaluate leadership, they are taught to enact directives. Authority is presented as a constant, and Rex accepts that constant without friction for him. Jedi command is not an idea to be examined, but a structural fact, established before he ever stands on a battlefield. He believes the Jedi see the entire picture, and that clones serve best by acting, not thinking. Early battlefield missions reinforce this belief. Rex receives orders that lack full tactical clarity and executes them immediately. He assumes that Jedi leaders understand broader implications, and that delay introduces risk. He does not weigh alternatives or judge the feasibility of the plan. His role is to translate command into action. Rex associates Jedi orders with survival, and that correlation strengthens loyalty. He sees no benefit in questioning when the structure appears effective. Rex instructs younger troopers using the language of doctrine, rather than the language of reasoning. When rookies ask why orders matter, Rex quotes procedure without explaining logic, because procedure is what he has been given. He replicates the communication style of training officers, which shows that he has not developed independent evaluation. Clones are expected to transmit rule sets, not interpret them. Rex sees rules as truth, not as a tool. A moment early in the war reinforces his assumption that the Jedi value clone lives when a Jedi leader makes a point to recover stranded clones. Rex interprets that action as proof of mutual loyalty and shared values. He sees the gesture as an indication that the chain of command is built on respect, not hierarchy. The experience intensifies loyalty because it appears to validate everything the training program told him about Jedi leadership. Rex interprets limited access to planning as authority sharing. When a Jedi invites him to voice input on strategy, he sees influence rather than management. Even though the Jedi retain final decision power, Rex believes presence equals agency. This misconception shields him from noticing that his involvement is inclusion without authority, an illusion of influence that reinforces the chain of command. During a critical outpost incident, Rex applies doctrine as his primary tool. He demands that inexperienced troopers follow orders without hesitation and frames uncertainty as weakness structure becomes his method of problem solving. He treats obedience as the mechanism that ensures order and links hesitation to collapse. He reinforces the system because he believes the system prevents loss. As the war scales, Rex begins to measure outcomes through structure rather than through tactical understanding. When missions succeed, he attributes success to the chain of command, not to variables like strategy, timing, or opportunity. Victories appear to prove that obedience works, and this confirmation strengthens Rex's belief that the Jedi command model is correct. Rex sees pattern, not nuance. Cracks form when Rex witnesses orders informed by political constraints rather than battlefield necessity. During a civilian protection mission, he observes that the objective exists to preserve appearances for the Republic rather than to serve tactical logic. He follows the order, but recognizes that clone lives are being risked for political perception, not strategic value. This is the first time obedience conflicts with evaluation. Rex begins to watch Jedi decisions with scrutiny rather than acceptance. When he sees leadership maintain a position solely to avoid political embarrassment, he identifies a divide between battlefield awareness and high-level priorities. He continues to act under the chain of command, but logs the moment internally. He is no longer following blindly. He is collecting evidence. By the midpoint of the war, Rex's loyalty functions differently. He still obeys, but his obedience is active, not automatic. He follows orders because armies require structure, not because he believes every Jedi decision reflects wisdom. His loyalty shifts from conditioned faith to conscious assessment. The foundation of unquestioned belief begins to erode, and Rex starts to think like a leader rather than a product of training. Rex's shift away from unquestioned loyalty becomes clear when he works under a new Jedi commander, whose approach to strategy differs sharply from Rex's earlier experiences. The commander focuses on rapid advancement and direct engagement rather than measured planning. Rex follows every direction, but begins tracking how the decision-making process functions. The commander prioritizes forward movement, even when field conditions suggest re-evaluating the plan. Rex starts to notice that adherence to the mission objective sometimes overrides situational input from the clones who are positioned on the front line. During this campaign, Rex observes that the commander places emphasis on execution speed rather than adjustment based on new information. When terrain changes or opposition strength increases, the plan remains the same. Rex compares this to earlier missions where strategy shifted. As new data appeared, it becomes the first time Rex evaluates commands based on context. Rather than on authority, he continues to fulfill every directive, but silently tracks the gaps between decision intent and on-the-ground impact. Rex begins implementing subtle adjustments to protect his unit. He does not alter the mission objective, but he modifies the route timing or formation to increase survivability. The key analytical shift is that Rex no longer views orders as final instructions. He views them as starting points requiring interpretation. Rex applies judgment where earlier he applied repetition. He is no longer replicating doctrine. He is managing variables. As casualties rise, Rex notices a pattern. The commander assesses outcomes only by mission progress, not by troop sustainability. Rex documents these results and discusses them with other troopers. He frames it not as disagreement, but as an evaluation of efficiency. Leadership for him becomes measurable through outcome analysis rather than through assigned rank. Rex becomes more focused on metrics than hierarchy. Authority is no longer the proof of correctness, the result is. Rex eventually encounters an order that conflicts with basic tactical logic. The directive requires advancing through a position without cover. Rex identifies that the plan increases exposure without clear benefit, and chooses to request clarification. He points to observable field factors when questioned about his hesitation. He cites operational reasoning and the established best practices from previous missions. This is the moment Rex transitions from obedience to assessment. When the conflict reaches its height, Rex gathers evidence that the command process does not include ground-level feedback. He presents his observations through procedural channels rather than emotional appeal. By using performance data, he demonstrates that evaluation is a necessary function of leadership, not insubordination. This is the moment when Rex separates the role of Jedi leadership from the assumption of inherent correctness. Rex does not reject leadership. He re-evaluates the conditions under which leadership should be followed. Later in the war, a major fracture appears when a trusted ally is accused of wrongdoing, and the decision-making body, responsible for judgment, approaches the situation with caution toward public perception. Rather than direct analysis, Rex observes that the priority is compliance with institutional expectations, rather than clarification of facts. The process designed to determine truth becomes a process that protects organizational stability. Rex identifies that decision systems can be influenced by external pressure. Rex studies how the council manages the situation and notes that the process maintains neutrality rather than advocacy. The decision structure emphasizes maintaining stability and minimizing disruption, and Rex recognizes that the system values procedural safety more than situational accuracy. He sees that the evaluation model is based on preserving the institution, not necessarily on resolving uncertainty. This reinforces Rex's growing belief that leadership decisions must be assessed individually, not accepted collectively. When the final crisis emerges and a system-level command is issued, Rex no longer processes directives as inherently correct. His hesitation comes from prior analysis, not confusion. He has already learned that authority can operate on goals, not visible to the soldiers, executing the action. His moment of resistance is not rebellion, it is reasoning, built from accumulated observation. His response shows that loyalty and independent assessment can coexist and that structure does not eliminate the need for judgment. Rex reaches clarity after the war. The Jedi are not viewed as antagonists, but as leaders operating inside a structure with competing priorities. Rex no longer attaches correctness to title. He attaches correctness to reasoning. He applies a consistent metric to every leader. Clone or Jedi, does the decision align with observable reality and sustainable outcomes? His belief transforms from loyalty to evaluation. Rex continues to respect leadership, but he no longer assigns infallibility to it. He becomes a leader because he learns how to question.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. My main channel is Critical Analysis Hub, where I post Star Wars content about the movies. My secondary channel is Critical Analysis Hub Plus, where I focus on the shows of Star Wars. And my third channel is Critical Analysis Hub XP, where I post comic books. Be sure to take a moment and check them out. Thanks, and may the Force be with you.